After proposing 99 times, my girlfriend Sophia Reed finally accepted my proposal. On the day of the wedding, held on April Fool's Day, she was nowhere to be found. Heartbroken, I called countless times, but there was no answer. I became the laughingstock of the crowd. After a long while, the call finally connected. "Appy? Ryan Miller, this is my April Fool's Day gift to you." From the other end of the line came the smirking voice of her childhood friend, Daniel White. "Ryan, happy April Fool's Day." I hung up the phone coldly. It turned out my meticulously planned wedding and every single proposal were just tools for her to make fun of me. But this time, I wouldn't let her trample on my sincerity anymore. I apologized to the guests at the hotel, saw them off one by one, and after handling everything, it was already past midnight. Dragging my exhausted body back home, I opened the door and saw Sophia Reed sprawled casually on the sofa, smiling sweetly and happily at her phone. "What took you so long to get back?" Seeing me return, she didn't even lift her head before starting to order me around. "Go wash the dishes in the kitchen." Because I couldn't bear for her to do any dirty or tiring chores, I always took care of all the housework myself. Seeing me standing still, Sophia Reed finally looked up at me. Noticing my cold expression, she suddenly realized something, got up, hugged my waist, and lightly kissed me on the corner of my mouth. "Ryan, I was just playing an April Fool's Day prank on you today. Please don't be angry, okay?" This was her usual trick. Every time she angered me and saw me getting upset, she would grin mischievously, act cute, and try to coax me. Once my expression softened, she'd go back to treating me like I was at her beck and call. I gently pushed her away and said coldly, "You knew perfectly well how important this wedding was to me. Why did you play such a trick on me with Daniel White?" I vividly remembered how happy and excited I was when Sophia Reed accepted my proposal. I started preparing for the wedding, asked a friend to hire an international designer to custom make Sophia Reed's wedding dress, and hired a professional team to create a wedding tailored to her preferences. I thought we were heading towards happiness, but all of that turned into nothing today. Sophia Reed frowned, puzzled, and said, "Wasn't I just pulling a prank like usual? Why are you so angry?" I gave a faint smile. "Yeah, just a prank. 3 years of being with her, it was all just a joke too. Besides, Daniel and I have been childhood friends forever. We've always messed around like this. Why can't he handle a joke like you?" She kept rambling in the living room, but I couldn't bother to listen anymore and walked straight into the bedroom. In the deepest part of the closet, I found the unique wedding dress I had prepared for her, carelessly stuffed in a corner. 3 years, and my sincerity was just casually tossed aside in a corner by her. The tablet screen on the bed lit up. The wallpaper was a picture of her and Daniel White. Sophia Reed had pieced together countless pictures of them to make the tablet wallpaper. But in the 3 years we were together, pictures of us were few and far between. The only picture we had together was a candid shot someone took of our backs. I took out my phone, made a call, and said in English, "I accept the job offer." After hanging up, I didn't hesitate to book a plane ticket to go overseas 3 days later. Maybe because I had things on my mind, I tossed and turned in bed all night, while Sophia Reed, who was lying with her back to me, was already fast asleep. It wasn't until dawn that I finally drifted off, but I hadn't slept long before Sophia Reed's loud bustling woke me up. Perhaps because of the unpleasantness last night, her voice was especially loud today. I finally couldn't help but open my eyes and saw Sophia Reed standing by the bed. Seeing that she had woken me up, there wasn't a hint of apology in her eyes. She feigned surprise and said, "Oh, Ryan, you're awake? Why don't you sleep a little longer? I'm going to be late for work. You don't need to make breakfast, just remember to bring me lunch at noon." Sophia Reed never ate on time, and I was afraid she'd develop stomach problems. So I got up early every day to carefully prepare breakfast and lunch for her to take to the company. Repeating the same things every day, I realized I had been doing this for 5 years. My mind was elsewhere, so I casually agreed, "Okay." Sophia Reed nodded with satisfaction, wanting to kiss me, but I subtly avoided her. She frowned slightly, but didn't say anything, grabbed her coat, and turned to leave. After Sophia Reed left, I got up, washed up, took the documents, and went to the local government office/department to handle the deregistration. Afraid of taking too much time and making Sophia Reed suspicious, I hurried home to make the food and take it to her after finishing the procedures. But unexpectedly, when I got to the company entrance, the front desk stopped me. "Hello, please show your appointment. If you don't have an appointment, you can't enter. I'm Ms. Reed's boyfriend. My name is Ryan Miller." The front desk scoffed with a smile. "How can just anyone claim to be Ms. Reed's boyfriend? Ms. Reed's boyfriend is clearly Daniel White." The hand holding the lunchbox trembled slightly. I rarely came to Sophia Reed's company. Before, when I occasionally came to bring her lunch, she would have her assistant come down to get it. I understood the front desk didn't recognize me, but I didn't understand why Daniel White was being called Sophia Reed's boyfriend. I took out my phone, called Sophia Reed, and said with a cold laugh, "Since Daniel White is your boyfriend, you can have him bring you lunch from now on." There was a few seconds of silence on the other end before she finally spoke. "I'm in a meeting right now, wait a moment. I'll have someone come down to get you." However, after a while, Daniel White appeared. He walked right past me and greeted the front desk warmly. I just stood there watching him chat with the front desk, feeling cold. I don't know what he said to the front desk, but the front desk suddenly turned and looked me up and down. "You and Ms. Reed seem so well matched, it's hard to believe you're not a couple." I don't know what Ms. Reed is thinking. Daniel White feigned annoyance, gave me an apologetic smile, and then expertly led me to Sophia Reed's office. Watching his actions, I knew he was completely at ease moving around Sophia Reed's company. On the way, Daniel White suddenly spoke up smugly, "Ryan, my bad. The new front desk person is clueless. Don't take it to heart. I've explained many times that Sophia and I aren't dating, but they just won't listen." I gave a mocking smile. "Daniel White, is it that they don't believe you, or is there actually something going on between you two?" "I know what's what." Daniel White's smug expression suddenly changed, and he said with a look of injustice, "Ryan, you really are misunderstanding Sophia and me. We're just good friends. It's really not like you think." I was just about to speak, frowning, when Sophia Reed's voice sounded coldly from behind me. "Ryan Miller, what are you getting jealous about now? I've explained this to you countless times." After saying that, she quickly came over and shielded Daniel White behind her, looking like she'd fight me if I dared to lay a hand on him. And Daniel White, with his back to Sophia Reed, was smirking at me contemptuously. Seeing this, I just gave a slight scoff. "Don't worry, I'm not going to hit him." Sophia Reed, however, looked at me with distrust. "You have a history. I don't trust you." Because of her overly close relationship with Daniel White, I had thrown fits about it many times before. But she would only repeat, "Daniel and I are just friends. Don't overthink it." Friends? Because of a single call from Daniel White, Sophia Reed would rush to his side, even in the middle of the night during a heavy rain. Even on our 5th anniversary, she was with Daniel White, leaving me to wait alone. One thing after another, there were countless instances. But now I was tired too. Whether they were just friends or not, I just wanted to quietly handle things and leave. I reached out, pushed the lunchbox into Sophia Reed's arms, and said coldly, "Think whatever you want. Since the food has been delivered, I'll be going now." Ignoring the expressions on the faces of the two behind me, I turned and left immediately. Seeing me leave so decisively, Sophia Reed rushed in front of me and explained, "Ryan, don't misunderstand, that's not what I meant." Seeing me look down and remain silent, she quickly grabbed my hand. "I'll get off work early tonight and stay home to have dinner with you." Looking up at her guilty and anxious expression, I suddenly let out a scoff. I gently patted her hand and said flatly, "I understand. Go on back and eat." While she was stunned, I quickened my pace and left. After returning home, I started sorting and packing my things. But actually, I had very few things in this apartment. Most of it belonged to Sophia Reed. When we first moved in together, I happily bought a lot of things, and I bought matching couple items whenever I could. Afraid Sophia Reed might come back suddenly, I quickly packed some important things first, and then went to make dinner. However, the food got cold waiting, but Sophia Reed never came back. I took out my phone to call her, but there was no answer. Just as I was about to put my phone down, I noticed a familiar profile picture in my social media feed. I clicked on it and saw it was Daniel White. He had just posted a picture of Sophia Reed's back as she cooked in the kitchen, with the caption, "Someone wasn't happy today, but I don't want you to be put in a difficult position. At home." I never let Sophia Reed cook, I always did the cooking. But I wasn't born knowing how to cook. If she just said she wanted something, I would go and learn how to make it, finding different ways to cook delicious food for her. Getting cut by knives, getting splattered with oil, those were common occurrences. Even now, my hands still bore scars from cooking back then. But every time I cooked and waited for her to come home and eat, she would often be late or not show up at all. The food would get cold, I'd reheat it, it would get cold again. Sometimes I don't know how many times I did that. But now, she was at another man's place, cooking for him. I looked at it repeatedly, then my finger moved, and I liked the post Daniel White had put on his social media feed. Since that's the case, this someone, will do as he wishes and cause him more trouble. I casually put my phone down and threw the remaining food into the trash can. As soon as I finished doing all that, my phone suddenly rang. As soon as I answered, I heard Mrs. Reed's impatient voice. "Where's Sophia Reed? Why isn't she answering her phone? She hasn't come home yet. You can try asking Daniel White." The Reed family had always disliked me, often ordering me around and being completely rude to me. But facing her family, I had always been careful and cautious. Now I didn't want to be submissive anymore, but Mrs. Reed didn't realize there was anything off about what I said. Instead, she became more aggressive. "Try asking, what kind of boyfriend are you? I told Sophia ages ago you weren't good enough. You don't even know how to care for your own girlfriend, and you expect me, her mother, to ask someone else. Forget it. Just remember to remind Sophia Reed to not forget her Grandpa Reed's birthday dinner in a couple of days." With that, she hung up without hesitation. I forwarded Mrs. Reed's words to Sophia Reed verbatim. But even when I went back to bed in the early hours, Sophia Reed hadn't replaced IED to me, let alone come home. Of course, she was busy comforting the upset Daniel White. How could she spare a thought for me? As I was thinking, my phone screen lit up. Sophia Reed finally remembered me and sent me a message. "Sorry, something came up at the company tonight that I had to deal with. I stayed at the office. I'll apologize to you when I come home tomorrow." I pulled the corner of my mouth into a cold smile, casually tossed my phone onto the table, and lay down to sleep. The next day, Sophia Reed had her assistant send over a suit for me. The more I looked at it, the more familiar it seemed. I looked it up on my phone and found it was a suit from the previous season's runway. It was also a bit small when I tried it on, completely not my size. At the same time, her phone rang. "Ryan, come with me to Grandpa Reed's birthday dinner tomorrow. I've already got a suit ready for you. All my relatives will be there. Make sure you make a good impression this time, and we can get married sooner." Married? I gave a soft scoff, but my voice was flat when I spoke. "Okay." However, when I got to the birthday dinner, I found Daniel White was also there. He was wearing the latest season suit, which fit him perfectly, as if it were custom made for him. The color and style were also very similar to Sophia Reed's formal dress, making them look like a matching couple. I suddenly understood, this suit was probably prepared specifically for him by Sophia Reed. Just as I was about to greet the Reed family, Daniel White walked right past me and started chatting warmly with them. Mrs. Reed was laughing heartily, clearly won over by his flattery. I couldn't get a word in edgewise. Meanwhile, Sophia Reed was busy attending to the Reed family's guests and had no time for me. After a while, Daniel White casually walked over to my side and mocked, 3 years, and you're still so useless, you just can't fit in." Seeing me involuntarily clench my fists, Daniel White suddenly curled his lips into a cold smile. "What? Want to hit me? Want to play a game? See if Sophia believes me or you." As he spoke, he suddenly grabbed my hand and swung my fist towards his face. I knew something was wrong. By the time I reacted and tried to pull my hand back, Daniel White had already gone down, collapsing onto the ground. Sophia Reed immediately rushed over and pushed me. Caught off guard, I fell to the ground. Sophia Reed, however, just helped Daniel White up and held him in her arms, yelling at me angrily, "Ryan Miller, why did you hit him? Are you getting jealous and making things up again? You just can't help yourself, can you?" Seeing that I didn't say anything, her eyes turned cold. "Aren't you going to explain yourself?" My expression was indifferent, and my voice was icy when I spoke. "You wouldn't believe anything I say anyway, so why bother explaining?" Daniel White leaned against Sophia Reed, saying unjustly, "Sophia, it was my fault for saying the wrong thing and upsetting Ryan. Don't be mad at Ryan." Sophia Reed glared at me, but carefully helped Daniel White up and started walking him out. "Come on, I'll take you to the hospital." Watching their receding backs, I knew that she and I were truly and completely over. I turned around, went back home, and packed the last of my luggage. Afraid Sophia Reed might find it, I put the suitcase in a corner. As expected, however, Sophia Reed never came home. Moreover, she made a big fuss, gathering hospital specialists to examine Daniel White. But clearly, Daniel White didn't have a single scratch on his face or body. The next day, when my alarm went off, I grabbed my suitcase and took a cab directly to the airport. Before boarding the plane, I received a message from Sophia Reed. "Ryan Miller, I'm almost home. I'll take you to the hospital in a bit to properly apologize to Daniel. I'll pretend none of this happened, and we can go back to being good." My fingers moved slightly, and I typed a reply, "Sophia Reed, let's break up." After sending it, I immediately blocked and deleted her contact info. And just a second before hitting the confirm button, her last message popped up. "What are you throwing a fit about now? Why is your suitcase gone?" It wasn't until I got off the plane and stood on different ground that I truly felt at ease. Back then, I repeatedly turned down high-paying job offers overseas, just for Sophia Reed, for a future with her. But from now on, I only wanted to live for myself. Shortly after getting back to my apartment, I saw a post on my social media feed from Daniel White, posted a few hours earlier. In the photo, Sophia Reed was sleeping peacefully, sprawled across his hospital bed. "Thanks for staying with me all night." After a moment, I directly deleted his account. People like that don't need to be in my social media feed. A little while later, I got a call from an unknown number. A familiar voice came through. "Ryan Miller, where did you go? Why aren't you home? Come back, stop sulking." Hearing Sophia Reed's confident assertion, I scoffed. "I'm not sulking, I'm serious." She said disdainfully, "Ryan Miller, don't I know you? Aren't you just playing these games to get me to apologize and coax you?" Seeing my silence, she sighed, "Ryan, don't be so childish. Daniel would never do something like this to try and manipulate me." I couldn't take it anymore. Just as I was about to say something, Daniel White's deliberately loud voice came through the receiver. "Sophia, I need to grab something, come help me quickly." Although I couldn't see his face, from his tone I could imagine Daniel White's smug expression at that moment. Without waiting for Sophia Reed to say anything more, I hung up the phone. The next second, she sent me a message. "Ryan Miller, stop playing hard to get. I don't blame you. As long as you apologize to Daniel, we can still be good together." Reading that, I just found it amusing. Sophia Reed W. As always so confident, I didn't reply. Instead, I quietly took my clothes out of my suitcase. Seeing that I wasn't responding, Sophia Reed didn't try to bother me further. A few days later, I received a call from Sarah, assistant, Sophia Reed's assistant. "Ryan, why did you leave home? Ms. Reed says if you come back now and apologize to her and Daniel White, she can forgive you and pretend none of this happened." Hearing faint sounds from the receiver, I guessed Sophia Reed must be nearby. I gave a faint scoff. "Tell Sophia Reed for me that we've broken up. There's nothing between us anymore." As soon as I finished speaking, Sophia Reed's furious voice indeed came from the other end of the line. "Ryan Miller, what kind of a fit are you throwing now? You even blocked me. If you've left, don't you dare contact me or come back again." I curved my lips slightly. "Gladly." Furious, she said, "You better not regret this." The very next second after saying that, she immediately hung up. But she was wrong. I wouldn't regret it. The aftermath of her outburst was significant. Sophia Reed was so angry she didn't contact me again. But Sarah, assistant, would sometimes send me a few intimate pictures of Sophia Reed and Daniel White, and relay their conversations to me. Even my social media feed had many more sightings of Sophia Reed and Daniel White. Needless to guess, I knew who was making him send them. In the past, when I first discovered how intimate Sophia Reed and Daniel White's relationship was, I would also have Sarah, assistant, secretly keep an eye on them for me. If it were before, I would have made a huge fuss and told Sophia Reed and Daniel White to keep their distance. But Sophia Reed would just look at me coldly and tell me, "Ryan Miller, we're just good friends, everyone around us knows that. And if there were really something going on between him and me, why would you even be in the picture?" Looking at her composed expression, I, in my hysteria, just see me like a lunatic. But this time, I truly didn't care anymore. "Sarah, stop sending them. I really don't care." Sarah, assistant, indeed stopped sending pictures of Sophia Reed and Daniel White, but instead started sending pictures of just Sophia Reed alone. He would also report to me where Sophia Reed went every day and what she did. I couldn't help but find it ironic. Something I couldn't even dream of happening before was now coming true so easily. Before, it was always me sending messages to Sophia Reed, asking her, "Busy at work today? Remember to eat on time. Coming home for dinner? What do you want to eat?" But what was the use of this belated realization? I pretended not to see them and didn't reply with a single word. Seeing that I still didn't reply, Sarah, assistant, stopped sending messages. I thought Sophia Reed had given up and didn't keep her affairs in my mind. One morning, I was woken up by a call from Sarah, assistant. I frowned and pressed answer. On the other end was Sarah, assistant's anxious voice. "Ryan, where did you put the stomach medicine? Ms. Reed had too much to drink at a business engagement last night and her stomach hurts terribly now." From the receiver, I could also hear Sophia Reed's voice in pain. I was puzzled. Wasn't Daniel White with her? Why would he specifically call me? "Where is Daniel White? Tell him to take care of Sophia Reed." But Sarah, assistant, said anxiously, "Ms. Reed was throwing up and making a scene. He found her troublesome and left, making up an excuse. Actually, Ms. Reed's stomach problems weren't that serious before. It's all Daniel White's fault." Right, the pictures Sarah, assistant, sent me a few days ago were all of Sophia Reed and Daniel White out eating and having fun, eating cold and spicy food, never sticking to dietary restrictions. Sophia Reed already had stomach problems. Before, for her health, I always controlled her diet and researched healthy recipes every day. But Sophia Reed thou. I was deliberately controlling her. That night, I even overheard her calling Daniel White from the study, complaining about how controlling I was. Seeing that I hadn't replied for a long time, Sarah, assistant, couldn't help but urge, "Ryan, are you still there? There are medicines in the medicine cabinet in the living room. I bought and organized them before. Look carefully before using them." I had prepared various medicines at home and even thoughtfully wrote the date and dosage on each bottle with a sticky note. Soon, I heard the sounds of Sarah, assistant, rummaging on the other end of the line. "I found it. Thank you, Ryan," I said coldly. "Good that you found it. Don't call me about Sophia Reed's matters anymore. We have nothing to do with each other now, and I have my own things to be busy with." After saying that, I hung up before he could say anything else. The words I had deliberately spoken loudly for Sophia Reed to hear had now fully reached her ears. Upon hearing my words, Sophia Reed's eyes were vacant and listless. She sat blankly on the ground, lost in thought. Whether it was the effect of alcohol or something else, she suddenly felt that not only her stomach hurt, but her heart did too. Sophia Reed stumbled to her feet, looked at the thoughtful sticky notes on each medicine bottle, and her eyes suddenly welled up. She took out her phone and opened our chat history. There was only my one-sided concern, and her replies were few and far between. Sophia Reed suddenly remembered that every time she came home drunk, I would prepare a hangover remedy for her in advance and coax her to drink it. Even though I knew she was a bad drunk and would throw up, make a scene, and hit people when drunk, I would silently endure it, never disliking her or losing my temper. But just now, Daniel White's look and expression showed thinly veiled disgust. No matter how hard he tried to hide it, his subconscious actions betrayed him. Sophia Reed suddenly remembered. how good I had been. She took out her phone, wanting to call me, but then suddenly remembered that I had already blocked her. Her tears started flowing uncontrollably. She raised her hand to wipe them away, but the more she wiped, the more they came. Finally, she couldn't bear it anymore and squatted on the ground, sobbing bitterly. Sarah, assistant, tried to comfort Sophia Reed, but she was sent away. Of course, she had always been arrogant and confident. How could she allow anyone to see her in such a pathetic state, crying hysterically? After calming down, Sophia Reed called Sarah, assistant, and told him to track me down. Sarah, find out where Ryan Miller went immediately. If you can't find him, pack your things and get out. Sarah, assistant, hesitated, wanting to speak, but finally couldn't hold back. Ms. Reed, Ryan seemed to mention before that a company overseas had offered him a job. I even reported it to you, but you didn't seem to pay attention at the time. As soon as he finished speaking, Sophia Reed fell silent, lost in thought. That day, when I received the call from the headhunting company, I subconsciously rejected their offer, but I still couldn't resist going to the company in the heavy rain to share the good news with Sophia Reed. Yet, she was helping Daniel White with a planning proposal that couldn't have been simpler. Compared to my excitement, her expression was somewhat dismissive. Oh, that's good. Her indifference was like a bucket of cold water, extinguishing all my enthusiasm. And clearly Sarah, assistant, was right. She had never taken my matters to heart. So, faced with Sarah, assistant's implied reproach, she uncharacteristically didn't argue. I see. Book me the soonest flight overseas right away. After hanging up, Sophia Reed looked at the apartment, where only she remained, and a sense of unspeakable sadness welled up in her heart. When I left, besides taking my personal items and some clothes, everything else was left as it was. As Sophia Reed looked at the things I had left behind, her tears couldn't help but fall again. She didn't sleep all night, sitting alone on the sofa in the living room, waiting for the next day to arrive. When Sophia Reed appeared before me, I was actually a bit surprised. After flying for over 10 hours, Sophia Reed looked exhausted, her eyes red-rimmed. She opened her mouth and spoke with some difficulty. Ryan, I just said coldly, what are you doing here? I came to bring you home. She stepped forward and tugged at my sleeve, her voice pleading. I know I was wrong. I apologize to you. I'll never throw a fit at you again. Please, come back with me. But I just forcefully shook off her hand and said calmly, Sophia Reed, we've broken up. There's no way I'm coming back with you. I have my own life now. Sophia Reed's face suddenly turned pale, and she quickly said, why? Is it because of Daniel White? I can explain to you. If you want, I can cut off all contact with him. I waved my hand, interrupting her directly. Enough. Daniel White or not, there's no way I'm coming back with you. You should just go. Don't stay here. Your company needs you. After saying that, I didn't look at her expression again, and turned to leave immediately. But Sophia Reed didn't give up just like that. She kept showing up at my apartment entrance every now and then. Whenever I appeared, she would come over to talk to me, asking about my well-being, but I never paid her any attention. One time, she finally couldn't hold back and came over to talk to me, carrying a gift box. Her expression was somewhat expectant and trying to please. Ryan, I just went to the mall specifically to buy you a bottle of men's cologne I thought you'd like. Take a look and see if you do. I glanced down and said flatly, I never wear cologne, and I don't like it. You should just take it and give it to Daniel White. He might like this brand. Sophia Reed's face stiffened, and her eyes showed some regret. I'm sorry, Ryan. I thought you would like it. Seeing my cold and distant expression, Sophia Reed wanted to say something else, but was interrupted by her phone ringing. Sarah, assistant's anxious voice came through. Ms. Reed, come back quickly. Something's happened at the company. After hanging up, Sophia Reed's face turned deathly pale. She forced a smile, trying to hide her sadness. Ryan, I need to go back for a bit. I'll come get you after I've sorted things out. But after Sophia Reed went back, she never looked for me or sent me messages again, because she was now completely swamped dealing with company matters. According to Sarah, assistant, Daniel White had arbitrarily signed the wrong contract, causing the company to have to pay the other party a huge amount in compensation. But the company's funds had already been sweet-talked out of Sophia Reed by Daniel White to invest in other areas. Now the company was in a financial crisis, with cash flow problems, facing imminent bankruptcy. After telling me a few brief things, Sarah, assistant, didn't message me again. It seemed the seriousness of the situation had exceeded my imagination. The company's problems escalated. It wasn't until Sophia Reed conducted a thorough investigation that she discovered Daniel White had long since colluded with a competitor company and stolen the company's core secrets. But it was discovered too late. She could no longer plug the hole. Daniel White's betrayal, the company's imminent bankruptcy, her family's accusations and disappointment, all of this was crushing her. So when I received her call, her voice was exceptionally tired and hoarse. "Ryan, I miss you so much. Can you come back and stay with me?" Before, whenever she encountered difficulties at work or was tired, I, as her boyfriend, would rack my brains and put in effort to cheer her up and help her solve her problems. But over time, she seemed to take all of this for granted, treating me like I was at her beck and call. When she needed something, it was Ryan Miller. When she didn't, it was Daniel White. I found it somewhat amusing. "What standing do you think you have to order me around now?" Sophia Reed, not everyone's world revolves around you. You didn't know how to cherish what you had before, and now we are completely over. Sophia Reed's breathing grew heavy, and she finally couldn't help but cry. "Ryan, I was wrong. Come back, and we'll get married right away." I scoffed directly, cutting her off. "Enough. I'm not marrying you. Don't contact me anymore. This is the end for us." Having said that, ignoring her desperate pleas for me to stay, I hung up the phone. I thought Sophia Reed would give up then, but unexpectedly she called again and again. After I hung up and blocked her, she followed up with message after message of apologies and proposals. The messages became more frequent, the content more disorganized, showing how restless and panicked Sophia Reed was now. According to Sarah, assistant, Sophia Reed's company had gone bankrupt, and she was also heavily in debt. Furthermore, she had sued Daniel White for the crime of selling core secrets. However, the company's bankruptcy, the massive debt, and all these events had pushed Sophia Reed to the verge of a breakdown. Her emotional state was becoming increasingly unstable. Before leaving the company, Sarah, assistant, went to see Sophia Reed. At this point, she was deeply affected, like a zombie every day, with none of her former confidence left. "Ryan, maybe you should come back and see Ms. Reed. She's really..." Sarah, assistant's voice trailed off. I was silent for a few seconds, then spoke softly. "Sarah, don't try to convince me. It's over between us. There's no chance anymore." Seeing my firm tone, Sarah, assistant, sighed and didn't say anything more, just quietly hung up the phone. Later, I simply changed my contact information. At the same time, afraid Sophia Reed me. Find my address. I simply moved out. Apart from occasionally being in touch with Sarah, assistant, basically no one knew how to contact me, not even Sophia Reed. I heard that Daniel White was sent to prison, facing legal consequences. Meanwhile, the Reed family borrowed money everywhere and paid off all of Sophia Reed's debts. After this whole ordeal, Sophia Reed was deeply shaken, her spirit tormented. She became extremely thin, now completely like a different person. Every day she would yell and scream, saying she wanted to go overseas to find me, to propose to me. The Reed family was helpless and could only keep her confined at home, not letting her out. But Sophia Reed threatened the Reed family with a hunger strike, so Mrs. Reed had no choice but to beg Sarah, assistant, and give her my contact information. So when I received the call from Mrs. Reed, I was a little surprised. After all, the Reed family and she had always disliked me. Now that I was overseas, it was exactly what they wanted. "Ryan Miller, it's been a while since we last talked. I heard you went overseas. You're doing so well now, but you don't come back to see me. You and Sophia used to take care of me together before." I spoke directly. "Mrs. Reed, just say what you need." Seeing that I was being blunt, Mrs. Reed didn't pretend to be friendly anymore. "Ryan Miller, do me a favor and come back to see Sophia. Sophia is now having a hunger strike because of you. Can you really bear to watch her continue like this? Back then, because of Daniel White, I also often threatened Sophia Reed with a hunger strike. At the time, Sophia Reed just looked at me coldly. Ryan Miller, you're not a child anymore, stop this. If you've got the guts, starve yourself to death. Maybe then I'll give you a second look. Hearing her words, I just felt utterly disheartened, and then suddenly realized how ridiculous and foolish my actions had been. After a few seconds of silence, I spoke up and refused Mrs. R. Mrs. Reed, Sophia Reed and I are no longer together, and we won't be in contact again. This is a good opportunity to cut ties completely. Isn't this exactly what everyone wanted? Seeing Mrs. Reed fall silent, I hung up the phone immediately and then blocked her. After that, Sophia Reed and the Reed family never tried to find me again. Later on, I heard that Sophia Reed had some mental health issues. She was recovering at home, yelling and screaming every day, making a scene, turning the Reed family's home upside down. But what did any of that have to do with me? Now, I had started a new life overseas, with a high-paying job, busy and fulfilling every day.